Introduction of late items, CAO?
Oops. Is that on?
Yeah.
No.
One is when you
No.
miss it.
Okay, there we go. One item, just to revisit the rec schedule issue that came up at the last minute. Just a couple words on that. Sorry, that'll be under unfinished business.
Under unfinished. Okay. Approval of agenda. Is everybody good with the agenda today? No issues? Good. Minutes of previous. That the minutes of the regular council meeting that was held August 16th, 2022 be adopted. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? None. Motion is carried. Petitions and delegations. The Mobile Outreach Unit for Health and Support Services. Also see correspondence. Did I miss something? Yes,
Yeah.
please. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Leanne McEntee. I work with the Peel District Council for Health, so KDC. I am the coordinator of the Mobile Outreach Unit for Health and Support Services. We call it the Moose in Campbell River. What the Moose is about is we work with folks in different locations. So we're in Campbellton, Willow Point, Dogwood, and downtown Campbell River. What we do is we offer supports to folks, everything from mental health, housing, counseling support, OAT, which is an opioid agonist therapy with one of our doctors on board. So folks who are either wanting to reduce or quit addiction with heroin or opioids, we have a program that folks can come see a doctor, and we help folks wean down and pour off of substances. We also have an alcohol cessation program that we run off of the vehicle. We have a counselor on board, we have nurses on board. We've also had a hearing unit that comes and joins us, and we go to different locations and offer hearing testing. We've done dentures and dentistry for some folks that have struggled with being able to access service. During COVID, I say vulnerable population because that's the buzzword that everybody uses, but in my mind, the vulnerable population isn't different than me or you or anyone else. It's not just for folks who are living homeless or folks who are addicted to substances. During COVID, we did a lot of work with our senior population and our cancer population. So we have a lot of folks that came down to our vehicle instead of going to an actual doctor's office to receive bandage changing, their prescriptions, things like that. So the way we did it is we sanitized our vehicle. We had a doctor that would meet our folks that weren't feeling comfortable to go into the brick and mortar buildings. We also offer parenting support and any sort of counseling. We have counselor right on board. We kind of say that if we don't have the situation that you guys need, or if someone comes and they're looking for something specific, if we don't have it, we advocate for folks to get it. We also do court support. We do victim service support as well. We have a full doctor's unit and bed and examination room in the back of the vehicle. So if somebody is feeling unsafe going into the hospital, we can connect them with forensics as well. So we offer quite the gamut of services, and we just received an extension of our supported communities funding through the SRD. We are currently going up to Gold River. As you know, that road isn't always the best in the winter. The fog is a little scary. And I had suggested to the board that we come to Sayward, and I have a little bit of a heart here in Sayward. I did some social work here back 15 years ago. And I think this community is absolutely amazing. And I wanted to see if this is something that the village would appreciate trying out for a period of time to see if there's services that we could offer for you. So I'm here today to ask a question if you feel that this is something that would benefit the community. And if so, where do you see us doing the best work? Because in order to be successful in the work that we do, we need to see what the community needs. We can't come in here with the idea. We can't be like, hey, this is what we do, here you go. We really need to talk to the community and see what it is that the community needs. We are also working hand in hand with the folks that are doing the RIDE program with North Island and Sayward to counter sort of the bus system. So I know that's a big piece through Gold River, Port Hardy, and Sayward that we're trying to help do a bit of a survey with that as well. So if there's some things that you feel that we can do to help benefit, or if you feel that there's some services that Sayward could use, that would be great. We connected with the MP as well, and they did identify that counseling, you guys get counselor once a month for mental health. I spoke with mental health and they would be more than happy to connect and partner with us as well when it comes to clientele.
Perfect. Because once a month, it just generally doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
Let's start with council. Councillor Polson, do you have any questions or?
I do have some questions. Sorry. Have you got any idea of what hours or how many days a week or bi-weekly or per month that you would come? And have you considered liaising with with the agencies that we already have in Sayward, like the clinic and the food hub and Alcoholics Anonymous and those kind of groups? Like if you want to get out and talk to the people that are already involved in that, and how can that service that you offer be coordinated with the local ones that already exist?
Absolutely, that's a very good question because it is about partnerships, and we are connected and partnered with mental health, which is the person that comes up once a month. We have connected with Island Health, your NP. We've had some conversations with that thing. I haven't had a conversation with your AA groups here in town yet. I also know that sometimes there's some big confidentialities around that. So I would be very grateful if folks could point me in that direction. As to your question about coming up, I'd like to come once a week. I think once a week would be beneficial. And because of the dynamic of how your community works, I think it would be good to come and park near the clinic. MP said that would be beneficial as well. So spend an hour or 2 hours in the actual village and then maybe spend an hour or two over in your junction so that we're connecting with folks that are in the trailer park or RV park. And then folks from the valley can come as well. So just trying to really help put us in positions where would benefit the folks widely instead of some folks that don't have vehicles in the valley or folks that are in the village that don't have a vehicle, making sure that we're in areas that would be beneficial.
Councillor Tinsley.
Great, thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I gather it would be a little bit of a testing to see how the response is and then kind of work from there, sort of a flexible, make sure it's working. The other source, as Councillor Paulson mentioned, is the clinic themselves for the real, context with that, the numbers, if you're looking for numbers assessments, especially, well, no, they service both the village and the valley. Yeah, I think it's great. Thank you for coming and presenting to us. Thank you.
And absolutely, I think any kind of project like this, when you do a launch or when we do a pilot, it is about kind of adjusting your schedule. So we don't have to be set in stone right away. Getting to the places and the times that folks see is the most beneficial, is the most important. The second most important thing is being consistent. So we'll keep the same day, but as for times, we can adjust our times.
Have you had an opportunity to speak to the RCMP, the local RCMP here as well?
I did not, but I have spoken with the head of RCMP in Campbell River, and they said that they would set me up with the RCMP here in town.
Good, yeah, because they deal with a lot of the issues that result from the opioid crisis, right? So one of the questions that I had, do you find are any of the individuals reluctant to go to the vehicle because it's more visible opposed to going into a brick and mortar building? People can actually see you go into that.
I actually found the opposite because the vehicle offers so many different things. It's not just a vehicle for people who are living outside of homes. It's not just a vehicle for people who are struggling with substance. It's not just a vehicle for folks to come and receive food items or clothing items. We have a nurse and a doctor on board. So folks have come and just renewed their prescriptions. People have come and got their blood pressure checked. So because it is such a big variety of items that we offer, nobody knows why you're coming. And the folks that do come, they know that there's such a wide variety of things that we offer. So I find that folks really appreciate being able to come to the vehicle. Whereas if you go into a mental health building, you know that's the mental health office in Campbell River. We all know what the mental health office, where it is. So that's kind of a barrier that we feel we've kind of removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you need from us?
I would like to hear from you what you feel would be important to offer for services here in Sayward. We have a doctor and a nurse on board in Campbell River. We have a housing specialist in Campbell River. We have a counselor in Campbell River. We can bring folks up, say 1 week, we'll say, hey, we have someone that's coming to do PWD applications, so persons with disabilities applications, which are difficult to do. You need an NP or a doctor to fill out a certain part of that form. Or if somebody has to get ready for court, we can bring up our court advocate. So we can bring up our specialists, say, each week and let folks know either in your local flyer or through the NP office or the clinic. So asking you folks what it is that you see the biggest need for Sayward.
I've got a few more questions.
I could tell. Go ahead, Councillor Paulson.
Thank you. Funding you said was from SRD.
Correct. We've received a grant from Strengthening Government
And how long is the grant for?
a year.
1 year. And will the staff that's in Campbell River be coming to Sayward, or will there be different staff?
So I will be the main staff person on the vehicle. I will bring up other staff as indicated through the community as what is needed, because you do have an NP here. They are able to do some of those things. Partly what we do as well. So if people are looking for OAT prescriptions, or they already have OAT prescriptions here in Sayward and they can't get them, we have had the ability to transport, because we've actually done that in Sayward, transferring their Suboxone or Methadone. We also have a connection with the doctor in Campbell River where we can do some of the testing that needs to be done. If they can't get to the clinic in Campbell River, we have the tests on board where folks can do their P-test. I can take a picture and we send it through a confidential way, and then the doctor will set their prescription so that if they need to come into town the next week, they don't have to go to the clinic if the clinic's closed.
Okay, and there are people in Sayward who don't have a doctor. So how does that set them up with accessing a doctor in Campbell River, or would it?
So they can access the doctor on the vehicle. We have a doctor 3 days a week. So anytime they do come to Campbell River, they can utilize the doctor on the Moose. We have the same 3 doctors on the Moose consistently. They're welcome to use that doctor. We also have an NP that is attached to the Moose, which we also have an NP. I don't know if you guys know, but an NP can do quite a lot, almost the same as a doctor. So we can connect them to that. We do have doctor shortages. I think you guys know that. We have shortages of everything right now for human bodies, but we can connect folks with that, and they can always access our doctor. And they have a system where they can speak to each other. So if the person ends up in emergency, it'll end up on the computer system. So when they come and visit the doctor, they'll have all the information on the computer right on the news for them, so that they're not, prescribing extra, or they know what's kind of happening for the person that comes on board.
So if people, oh, sorry, did you have a question, Tom? So if people are coming to see you and need access to, say, home care nursing or home support, or do you have an ability to refer them to Island Health, or get them set up with how to make those connections? Because a lot of people just don't know where to go. They don't know how to access the services.
Yeah, we can connect them for sure. We can't give the guarantee about when folks can come. Again, it's about human body shortage. We have a lot of shortages when it comes to, I mean, even people that are trying to, do grocery stores and things like that, but we can connect them. We can't give promises about when they will show up, but we have connections with folks that can support. If folks are Indigenous, and they're part of the KBC, we also have a connection with that, which is a little bit different to Island Health.
Good, thank you.
Perfect. Speaking for myself, I think it would be wonderful to have you folks here once a week. I know that we've had a couple of opioid deaths here, like every other community has had. I know that mental health is a big issue here, especially throughout the pandemic. We have a high senior population that have been isolated like everywhere else has been. And having those resources within walking distance, because some do live in the apartments, for example, and they can just go across the street, I think would be extremely advantageous for everybody here in the community. So whatever you need us to do. Council, you agree? Councillor Paulson,
Yes.
you agree? Yeah, thank you. Whatever you need.
We also run a program, it's called Get the Point. That was an anti-stigma program that we ran, and we will also see if that's something that this community here appreciates, where we offer for folks to come and they work and they get a vest and it says volunteer on them. In Campbell River, they pick up garbage. We do also a program where folks come out and help at the community kitchen. So it's about offering also some sort of different way of living for folks that maybe can't work a full-time job, either because of mental health or age or whatever the reason is. There's some gamut of reasons. So that's also a program that the community is interested in having or being a part of. I can bring up a peer worker. So we have a peer mentor that comes and helps with folks to come and they'll clean up for an hour around the town site, and then they'll get paid a stipend and they get to wear a uniform, and then they get to go home and whatever they want to do, go buy some tomatoes or something. But that's another part of the program that we do. We also are part of the art program as well. So it's about really building up the community in the needs that the community has.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes.
So anything you need, just you can call Mr. France to get anything in council. Anything, if you want donuts, good baking. No, you just talk to Mr. France and he'll pass on whatever information, anything that we can do to help. Thank you very much. That's excellent. Thank you for bringing it to us.
Thank you.
Okay, it was number 5. Now to go to number 6, correspondence. We have A through D. Does anybody want anything pulled?
I think we need to go over the Sayward folk music. Well, I mean, it's related to the staff report, right? So
Yes.
you want to do it now or at the staff
Go
report?
through the staff report. Is that correct, CA?
Sure.
Okay. Another thing that we should go over, I'd like to pull D. So in terms of D, regarding a bench for the former mayor, Mr. McDonald. Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Councillor Tinsley?
I may like to be.
Okay. Please. Did you want to close that door, Sue? That'll make. Okay, so my thought is twofold on there. One, what I was looking at is when we do get the new development in, I was hoping we could name a street after Mr. McDonald. I think that would be the way to go there. Number 2, for the bench, I'm not sure in terms of the location is the only concern that I have with that. I think we could put or get a plaque and perhaps, and you can jump in, I know I'm changing this a little bit, but I was thinking of the gazebo itself being, having the plaque on there recognizing Mr. McDonald, so like the McDonald gazebo, Saybird gazebo, or however you would want to word it. That's my thoughts. What's your thoughts?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I would agree that it would be, I think it's a great idea to do something. I think it's just really a question of what we want to choose. I think those are excellent ideas. I think the bench is an idea. I think we should choose one that would work and move forward from there. I think we also, I mean, John served a very long time, did great service to the community. I think we have to be a little bit cognizant about setting a precedent that every mayor going forward is going to have a bench or
I
something.
have no problem with that at all.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. So that would be, my only suggestion would be that whatever it is referring to his long service.
Yeah, I think it's because of the long service that he did for the community is why we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Somebody who's maybe mayor for 2 years would not be in the same position, right?
Hmm.
But I think naming the gazebo and putting a plaque on the gazebo, naming it the McDonald, I would like that better than, I guess a bench to me is, somebody's gonna sit on it, right? And on the plaque and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think it's an excellent idea.
I don't know. Right now, we're not actually having a council meeting because we don't have quorum.
Yeah.
So we're we're just having a discussion.
What about the clinic?
The clinic is a good one because
He was a main driving force.
he was, his name is in the inside of the clinic.
Mhm.
So the clinic is a good one as well. What do you think, Sherry?
I think they're all good ideas, and the cost would be negligible, but it would still be an honor.
Yeah, no, I think the clinic is a good one because, as he said, he was the driving force behind getting the clinic here.
Mhm.
CAO, what's your opinion?
I think all those are really good suggestions. I do like the clinic one though. That's a good one.
CFO, what do you think? I'm sorry, which one?
Whichever council decides,
This is a non-council meeting portion of the program. So we're just asking opinion.
anything would be wonderful.
Wow, you should be in politics. Okay. Well, we're not going to do a resolution, obviously, because we don't have it, but I'd like to get a plaque made and put on the clinic in honor of John McDonald.
We'll bring that towards the next meeting when we have.
That could be November. I don't think we need, because the cost is fairly negligible. Negligible. Thank you. We don't need a resolution, do we?
I think I could take it as direction, yeah.
Did you take it as direction?
Yeah.
You comfortable with that?
Dollar amount?
I would assume it's going to be between $300 and $400 to get a proper.
Well, it depends on what you want to have on the plaque. If you want something that says John and his terms of service and some of the things he did, it might end up being a little bit bigger, but it's up to you guys what you want to see.
Well, I think it should have his name as mayor. Mayor John McDonald. It should say from 2005 until 2018 in honor of long-serving mayor. Yeah. You can run some drafts by. What's your proofs?
I think we have another.
Okay.
I'm going to approach the Legion to see if they can do a commemorative plaque for him at the Legion to do with his military service. So if you cover his mayorship.
Yeah, that would be the inside of the building. Yeah, for them. Okay.
And it's nice and visual, so everybody can see it.
Yes, it would be put in a very visual spot. Okay, so we'll go get Councillor Paulson. Go ahead with that. Under his house. Sound about right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Goes over, I'll donate. Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing
Thank
it
you,
forward.
Terry.
There's no sneaking up on anyone.
No.
Okay. So we need a resolution that the correspondence from ADD be received for information and discussion. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second.
discussion? None? Opposed? All in favor? Motion's carried.
One little comment, Mr. Mayor. You'll notice on,
Sorry, Councillor Paulson, could you turn off your mic, please? Thank you.
just on the page 10, Heritage Conservation, they're asking for if you want to partake in the survey as well as the sessions, they want to hear back from you by September 6th.
I'm sorry, isn't that today?
Huh, well, there you go. You got to do it before midnight.
That's true. Council? Thoughts?
I had a look at it and I would like to sign up for the virtual session on the 28th from 9 to noon.
Okay. Anybody else? Nope.
Don't work with my work schedule.
Did it work? Yeah, I understand. Okay, so that's all we need for that, correct? Thank you. Reports of committee. Sorry, council reports. None. Reports of committee. Mayor's report is available. Mr. France and I met with BC Hydro on a virtual meeting the other day to discuss the power outages that we've had, as well as discuss the opportunity to put more power stations all the way through down to Port Hardy for connectivity for cell phone coverage. They stated in terms of cell phone coverage that they are a publicly traded company, and that would have to be direction from the federal government, and they would not spend money to do that. It would be up to the provider to look after that. In terms of the 26 power outages that we had here, they spent from Campbell River to Sayward over $750,000 on branches and some trees. And they felt that was fairly proactive on their part. The problem that we have, they cannot go underground because of the cost would be too high. The second problem is most of the trees are on private land or crown land or indigenous land. So we suggested that they come up with, if they run into problem trees and it's on those lands, especially we could get the SRD involved to remove them, because the closer the trees are to the line, the more we're going to have the issue. Now, they also did suggest that they're going to send us in the next month or two a report on where the strong, I can't remember the name of it. Sorry? No. It's to secure the line and make it a lot stronger. So one of the problems that they have with that is if a big tree does come down, it can also snap the power posts. But however, they're going to look at adding more of those in to where if a branch does come down, it's not going to disconnect the line. And they're also going to look at adding more to where they can, if something does come down, they have it fairly isolated. So the response time is going to be a lot quicker and not everybody will lose power. However, for us, we're not like some of the communities, like they use an example like Ladysmith, where you can get power from the south and the north. We don't have that option. So they are trying, as I said, they spent $750,000 so far this year, but they are going to be sending us more reports in the future. Did I miss anything? Pretty well covers. Okay. Number 10, unfinished business, Kelsey Center.
Just a little update, Mr. Mayor, Council. The lifeguard's husband had his schedule changed. Therefore, her schedule got changed. Therefore, our schedule got changed. So we're back to the old days of what the schedule was. We are getting another lifeguard back on January 1st. So between now and then, staff will come back with another report outlining what the changes can be made at the start of the year. With this schedule, there are some financial concerns that you'll have to deal with, but you'll see that when the time comes. Now, in the meantime, at the next meeting, we're going to get you a report that says that we can look at opening up the pool on Saturdays if council wishes. So you'll get a report saying what can be offered and what the cost of that would be to the year end.
Okay.
But suffice to say right now, because the pool hasn't been open, we're underspent in that particular budget. So we should be able to afford it. The problem is, of course, once it's extended into the new year, it's additional hours and it will cost money.
One of the things I'd like to see if, when that report does come out, is they take a look at possible usage. So anybody going through the Kelsey Center from today until then should be given maybe a small questionnaire saying, would you use the pool at this day? Would you do this? So we have some kind of gauge available to us. And if the people are using the Kelsey Center now, they should have no problem clicking a box to where they see that additional programs they would use, including the pool. You guys agree?
I know that wasn't directed to me, but I just wanted to add.
Sure.
I've asked Michelle to look at stats for the last several years, maybe 2021 aren't that good. But maybe go back to 2018, just simply in terms of programs, the number of people attending by program totals. So you get an idea of what we're pulling in, and then when you make changes, you'll be able to see how those changes, when you make changes in programs, you'll be able to see how those program changes reflect back on population or people attending. So at least you'll get some idea of whether or not the program's being used. And of course, the main thing with having the rec facility is trying to get as many people using it as possible. So if we're recording that, at least you'll have some measure of the success of the programming.
Right. Saturdays, I think, is a good idea because you get the opportunity for families to come. You know, the parents to bring their kids to say they work Monday through Friday, and they don't have that opportunity otherwise. So I think, opening up as much as we can, as long as it's being utilized, I think is a good idea. Do you have any comments, anyone from council? Nope. Councilor Paulson?
So do I understand it correctly when you say that the pool will be open Monday, Wednesday, Friday,
And Saturday,
and Saturday
going, not yet.
in the new year?
Sorry, it'll be opened up if council agrees Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the new part is what you'll give us the go ahead to do would be Saturdays. In the new year, between now and then, you're going to get another report outlining what the rec manager thinks is the best way to proceed on openings, and then you get to give us the go ahead.
Yep, good. Okay. Number 11A, financial statement variance to July 31st. The council receives the financial statement variance from July 31st, 2022, staff report for information and discussion. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second? Discussion. Anyone? No? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Sayward Futures, Sayward Folk Fest Music Proposal. The council received, discuss, and provide staff with direction on the Sayward Futures, Sayward Folk Music Proposal Report. Do I have a motion, please? Second? Discussion. CAO?
As you're aware, you and I attended a meeting with Mr. McCray and Mr. Sampson. And I think the report speaks to that, meaning that what we talked about there is quite a bit different than the proposal they made. And I understand why they made the proposal. They were trying to address some of the issues raised from the meeting. So my comment is, unless you want me to go through them, I think that our position on the insurance should stay the same. I talked to Michelle about it today when Oscar Days got their insurance for this building, and she's verifying this. She thinks it costs $75. To me, that's not a lot of money to keep them going. A really good policy, which states that when you want to use the facility for an event, you get your own insurance. Now, I also said to them that our insurance agent, MIA, has come up with a new program. We just have to enroll in it, and anybody using the facility can go to their portal and purchase insurance. And apparently it's very simple to use. And I'm going to do a test to see what it costs, but I have a sneaking feeling that it's very reasonable in cost. The issue of having us run the concession, we need more information on that, but what's expected. It still doesn't resolve the issue of having staff attend for the meeting, because for the event, because as you remember, they said they wanted to get in around 3 p.m. and they wouldn't be out of there till 9:30 at night, which means we've got to have someone there for basically 8.5 hours. We didn't, but staff did talk about this idea of who gets the fobs to get in the building. We understand that we don't give them out to anybody except staff. And that's something we may want to revisit, but simply on a day-to-day basis. In other words, if they get it for a day, and they have to take it out the same day and give it back the same day, so that we don't have fobs running around the community. Now, I wasn't part of that policy, so I don't know really where it came from. I understand the reason for it. It's added security. But that's a decision council can make. Okay. The sharing of net revenues, get a better understanding of that. So the only issues are the operating a concession and the insurance. And I think maybe having another chat with them, we can resolve some of those and get back to council. In the meantime, they are reserved. I think it was November 17th, they said. We've got them reserved for that time. So we got between now and then to get back to council with a final agreement.
So between now and then, you'll be able to go on the portal and find out how much it's going to cost?
Yeah, it's just a matter of finding some time.
Okay.
Yeah. Because they're doing a bunch of other things right now.
Is there something else to do? So, council, do you have any feedback? Councilor Tinsey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Relative to the concession operation, I guess unless we're seeing that, as I understand it, we have to have a staff person there. Is that understanding correct?
We should have a staff,
Oh,
we should have a staff person in the building while they're having the event, yes.
great, thank you. So in the previous events that were put on by the Folk Music Society, it was a very small concession of coffee and tea and whatnot. I can't see our staff being supporting that. I think that's something they've taken care of before, and within their group they can take care of and keep it quite simple. People usually come for the concert, not for everything, but that's my opinion. I think it'd be tough to have staff involved with that. And I'm also not sure if there's food safe involved, things like that.
There would be.
Yeah, so it gets a little complicated given the levels of work that are on our staff currently, in my opinion.
I think, I don't mean to interject, but I think the reason why they were giving the concession was to, in terms of financial, back to the village for the use of the center and a chance to make extra money to offset those costs. That's what I'm guessing.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. The other thing relative to revenue sharing, particularly because if we go along with this, providing it at no cost per se, except you're going to have a cost obviously for insurance, as mentioned by the CEO, but that when it talks about net revenues, I'm assuming that revenues defines positive. And so that I would make it clear that we're not responsible for any losses for their operation.
No, and as it does state in there that they're responsible for all pay to all performers and all that. the one thing they're not doing is before, we're not taking a single event and saying, for example, if one event is unsuccessful and they lose money, what they're going to do is pool all the events together, including what happens at the cable house, and do that combined revenue of all of it. So if one or two are not successful and others are, then there should be monies coming back to the village.
Right. The key, I guess I'm trying to be specific, is that we are not going to be responsible for any losses overall, right?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so there was discussion, so all in favor? Opposed? I already did the rest of it. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just waiting for your next resolution.
I already did this resolution. Did I not?
And that the mayor and CEO be instructed to meet with them.
That was coming.
I knew it was.
Yes, that was on its way. Okay, so we'll finish with this resolution. Opposed? All in favor? Okay. The next resolution is that the mayor and CAO will meet with Sabre Futures to discuss the points regarding the concession and the insurance. Do you have a motion, please? Is there more to add to that?
I would just,
And the losses.
be a little bit long, just to discuss the issues relating to the agreement. And that way, everything's thrown in.
There you go. Exactly what Mr. France just said. Oh,
Just everything to meet with them to discuss the terms of the agreement.
do you have a motion, please? Second,
I'll second that.
discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Okay, remuneration options. The council receive, discuss, and provide with direction on remuneration options report. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion. Okay, folks. It shows that council people had a raise back in 2018. So CFO, you can jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. There was a raise in 2018, which brought you up to what your current pay is today. I'm not sure when the one was before that. Do we have any idea? No? Okay. So a couple of the options that were brought forth, I'm sure everybody had the opportunity to read them. I'm not really good with. Oh, would you like to discuss?
Can I just,
Please.
okay.
CAO.
Sorry, just give you an overview. The only reason why you've got A here is because that was the first number discussed by council. And so when I worked the numbers, obviously it came in at less than what you had budgeted. That indicated to me that we had to look at other options, which I think is what council was expecting staff to do. So all it does is and it's completely arbitrary. It sets the stipend at $300 a month for the mayor and $100 a month for council members. That can be any number you want, but I think what the direction was is to make it more the pay reliant on the number of meetings attended. So that's the way I work that. Again, we could work out probably 15, 20 different scenarios, but I've given you a taste, I think. So the second one is simply, again, the $300 and $100 a month for everybody, but $340 for each regular council meeting attended. If you look at that little chart there, the up top on the far left column is 19 meetings is the average, and you can see the number of meetings throughout the last 4 years. You've had 19, 22, 16, and 20. So anything above the 19 average, obviously you're going to be paid more, and anything less than 19, you'd be paid less.
Less.
Right. So the next one takes a little step further, and that is it takes a look at all the meetings, regular, special, and COW meetings. And it says $220 for each one of those meetings. On average, there was around 29. That's, if you look at the numbers there, 19 is average for regular, special is 5, and COW is 5. So that's how I got that number. 29 times the 220 gives you 31. In each case here, those two numbers come above what was in the budget before because I added in 5% overall as, again, completely arbitrary. You guys get to tell me what that number should be. I added in 1902 over top of the current year's budget as an increase. So it increases two ways. It can increase two ways. Number one, it increases by total dollars available. But if you end up having more meetings in a year, then obviously that's going to impact on that number as well. So the more work you do, the more work you have to do. Obviously, council, mayor get paid a little bit more money.
Okay, so on B, it is $340 per meeting for all council.
For all of council for regular meetings.
Okay, and then we look at meetings at 19. What is stipend C?
C is regular, special, and Cal meetings.
Okay,
So you'll get paid, if you take that option, you'll get paid for each one of those. You don't get paid for IC meetings because generally speaking, not all cases, but most times they're tied to the council meetings.
okay. Well, council opinions, please. ABC or modification of one or the other?
When I went through this.
Sorry, could you hit your microphone?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. When I went through this before the meeting, I started C because it seemed to be within the budget. It seemed to balance out the figures and ensure, I guess my logic was that it meets what we're trying to achieve, which is a sense of encouraging attendance at all meetings regardless, right? And stays within the budget. Basically.
Personally, I think B, council has not had a raise in 4 years. Everything else has gone up, and I think it's to encourage as well. And I think when we're talking a total of, what's $700 difference possibly in the budget, I think is quite reasonable for council. So I would support B, and I like the idea of the paid per meeting. Councillor Paulson, your thoughts?
I do acknowledge that council hasn't had a raise for the last 4 years. And I think in small communities, it's very difficult to attract people to run for office when the incentive isn't there. It shouldn't all be monetary. It should be some commitment to your community. But I think over the past 2 years, I've found it has taken a lot of time. It's not just attending the council meetings, but it's the preparation for the meetings and the research and reading into it. So I think definitely that the next council should have a raise. And I guess B would probably be the best option in my books too.
If you feel B needs to be modified because it's too much of a raise or too little, that's something that is now the time. Correct? That's okay.
Sorry, I was going to do a calculation. I was trying to get my
Go ahead.
calculator out.
Go ahead, Councillor Tinsley.
I was just going to ask probably what John's doing now, if that works out to the 5%.
Too much pressure.
Well, you have to look at, it's going to be around just over $2,000, because if we're talking about a $40,000 budget, 10% of that is 4,000. So you're sitting around $2,000 increase per year based on full attendance. So,
That's over 5 years, so it's 20% a year,
I'm sorry?
5% increase over the last 7.
Yes. So we would be adding $2,000 to the budget for next year.
We're still going backwards about it. Relative to inflation,
Well, to inflation, yes, but
even
that's
the old inflation.
even the old inflation. Councillor Paulson, do you have anything else to add? No? Okay, I make a motion that with the direction of the enumeration bylaw, pardon me, enumeration option B for council and mayor. Do I have a motion? Do I need something else?
How would it work if a council member is sick or on vacation?
What we have is no different than what we have today. If they have to have an excused absence by the mayor or CAO. Correct. If it's an unexcused absence are not paid, which has been the majority of what's happened in the last 2 years. Okay, does that help? Perfect. CAO?
I don't want to be a curmudgeon, but if your exercise is to get someone to attend, who's going to adjudicate then on who gets permission to be away and who doesn't? I mean,
We just said it was going to be the mayor or CAO on an excused absence. Excused absence, if they have a medical emergency, they have a family thing that happens, what the problem that we've ran into in the last 2 years, and I know what happened prior to that, is people just not showing. No, or calling 5 minutes before the meeting saying, I'm not coming. And that's not an excused absence. Generally, where they just send a quick email, no conversation, 5 minutes before the meeting is not justifiable as far as I'm concerned.
would council consider putting a limit on that? Possibly 4 meetings a year with, well, I don't know, I'm just picking a number. I'm just seeing it as, human nature is such that, I don't know. I'm fully on board with trying to get people to attend the meetings. I just don't want it to be too easy. And my suggestion is not making it too easy for people not to attend. Because I can think where if someone is, in certain circumstances, is going to be asking for permission to be away all the time. Anyway, I'm just throwing it out there as a thought. Your direction.
And how would you, what would be your suggestion? You're saying limit the amount of times they can have an excused absence?
I would agree with the concept. I think that's reasonable. It's, I mean, we all agree with Councillor Paulson. None of us is here to get rich or anything. It's just about, just as in any regular workplace, there's a reasonable amount of granted sick time, right? And I think that's a reasonable,
Okay.
I think his number of 4 meetings a year is a reasonable
On
number.
regular council meetings.
Regular council meetings.
Okay, yeah, that's good. I can live with that. Can you live with it? Okay, both, go ahead.
Is the ability to attend via Teams or something like that still an option? For
Yes.
instance, if someone's on
Yes.
vacation, then they can
Yes,
attend.
yes.
So,
And but the one thing that we don't want to go back into is have somebody, for example, have somebody move and then want to attend the next 3 years by Teams, right? Which legally, I guess, if we didn't have that in the bylaw, they could. So yes. There's be circumstances where they could, if they're called away for work, for example, conference, what have you, or on vacation, that they can do by Teams.
Or they have a disease.
A disease that we don't want. Okay,
We're aware of that.
you're all good with that?
The school teacher.
Okay, so we have that motion. Do I have a second? Do we have a motion? Do we have it? We didn't, okay, let's do a motion. Motion, please.
Accept option D.
Yes, I already did the,
And then subject to the 4 days.
subject to 4 days. Thank you, 4 meetings, regular council meetings missed.
That's our bylaw.
And that staff prepare a bylaw for the next meeting because we have 2 meetings left to ratify this. Okay, so motion, please.
I'll move that.
Second. Further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion is carried. Okay, emergency services, number 12, we have nothing. Bylaws, none. New business? We're good. Public question period. The purpose of public question period is to enable citizens to ask questions of council about issues that are important to the citizen asking the question. Speakers are asked to limit their questions to 1, and if time permits, everyone will have the opportunity to ask questions. Everybody will have the opportunity to ask questions. Speaker may ask a second question. Citizens will be asked to state their name and address. Anyone? Nope. Anybody online? Nope. Okay, number 16, recommended resolution that in accordance with section 92 of the community charter, this council meeting will be closed to the public, and at that time, in order for council may consider matters to the accordance with the following sections of the community charter, 90-1 and 90-1K. Do I have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. This meeting is adjourned.